Gigabyte has just launched their first gaming monitor. It's called the AD27QD, catchy I know. It features a 1440p 27-inch 10-bit 144Hz panel, and it's pretty interesting. This video is going to be taking a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly about it, and giving you an idea of if it's actually worth your money or not. So let's jump into it. So let's start off with what they got right. The 1440p 27-inch panel for me is the perfect sweet spot when it comes to gaming monitors, with the right amount of clarity and crispness, but also the desktop icons and all that jazz aren't just too small and too hard to see. So for me, this is the perfect combination. It's also a 10-bit panel, which means great color accuracy and 95% of the DCI-P spectrum, as well as also impressive viewing angles, 178 degrees on either side, and side to side is great, as you can see, as well as top to bottom as well, which is often the tougher one for them to actually get right. This, coupled with the 144Hz refresh rate, make for a killer gaming experience. It really leans on its gaming focus with its OSD Sidekick software, which when connected via the USB 3 hub on the back of the monitor, acts as the monitor's menu system. It's actually got some killer gaming features, including a customizable crosshair, a gaming counter and timer, and a whole load of other stuff that can all be customized and turned on or interacted with via hotkeys from in-game. It's also a display HDR 400 certified monitor, meaning HDR works just fine with this, as well as also having FreeSync, which actually now, thanks to Nvidia's driver update, is now actually FreeSync for both AMD and Nvidia owners, and it works very well with this. It's actually in the process of being certified by Nvidia to be a G-Sync compatible display, so that's great news for both AMD and Nvidia owners alike. I/O-wise, it's got everything you need from 2 HDMIs to 1 DisplayPort, a built-in power supply, and that USB hub, as well as headphone and microphone jacks that you can connect your headset to, and offers with the OSD Sidekick app active noise cancellation with 3 built-in microphones. This is great for a more crowded gaming space, especially in the more sort of like gaming cafe side of things, so this would be a perfect companion in one of those sorts of spaces. The included stand is adjustable to the moon and back with 26 degrees of tilt, 40 degrees of swivel, 90 degrees of rotation so that you can turn it to a portrait mode monitor if you fancy, and 130mm of height adjust as well. You can also easily remove the panel from the stand with a simple pull and lift up, and then you can see the included 100 by 100 VESA mount, which is also great to see. It's also got customizable RGB built into the back of the display, which can be customized with the new RGB Fusion 2.0 software, which is actually compatible with basically any Gigabyte RGB products, from your monitor to your motherboard to your mouse. Gaming on this is a joy, especially if you enjoy fast-paced FPS games. Some of the extra features like the crosshair was actually an enjoyable extra addition that I found in some cases with games like CSGO, and especially the op in CSGO allowed me to be just a tad bit more accurate, if not exactly always. So that was the good. Now let's talk about the bad. That 10-bit panel I mentioned at the start is actually only an 8-bit plus FRC. Now that's not to say that 8-bit plus FRC isn't better than standard 8-bit, it is, but it's not 10-bit, and I feel like they shouldn't be so blatant about lying about it, even if they do correct themselves directly after they say 10-bit. But for, not so informed users who don't necessarily know what 8-bit plus FRC or frame rate control means, when they read 10-bit or 10-bit in the big colored letters, I feel like it's a bit kind of disingenuous. Oh, and that 95% of the DCI-P3 color spectrum is actually more like 84%, at least according to my Datacolor Spider 5 and the DisplayCal software. Now, that's not to say that 84% isn't bad. It's certainly impressive and a good bit better than a lot of other, especially TN monitors, but it's not 95%, which is again what they advertise. Moving on to the OSD Sidekick, it's a good idea in theory, but 1, it requires you to have the USB cable plugged in at all times to make use of it, and 2, they've actually completely done away with the standard monitor menu system. Any of the main features that you would expect any monitor's menu system that you can easily and quickly adjust with, say, the little dial that's on the bottom, is now completely gone away in favor of a small dial that lets you change your inputs and basically nothing else. And even that would be all right if it was somehow functional with every operating system and console that you might want to use it with, but it's not. It's a Windows only application, so if you want to pick this monitor up for your, Linux PC, then good luck changing literally any of the settings besides input. And that would still be all right for most if the software didn't crash or break so often when I was using it. Now, this is still an early version of the software, so they can improve this with updates, so keep that in mind. But with my experience so far, it crashed multiple times, and the monitor has a feature called aim assist, which is essentially black frame insertion, 1 in every 10 frames at 144 Hz, which essentially allows the monitor's panel to catch up with the fast moving images, as I'll talk about in a second. But I actually couldn't get it to turn on for the vast majority of the time that I was trying to test it, and I had to turn on and off FreeSync, had to change the refresh rates, multiple restarts, all just to get this one feature to work. And now for the ugly. There's 2 points here. The first one is kind of the lesser of two evils, as it can be corrected with the built-in VESA mount, but that is that the stand that they include here is wobbly to all hell and is generally more complex than most people should make it, and it kind of seems just unnecessarily complex to offer less than standard amounts of swivel that most monitors provide. Now, the knuckle that they use here is actually a 3-axis one. As you can see here, it allows the actual monitor panel itself to turn instead of some part of the stand like most monitors allow you to do, which does allow for a stylish stand, but means that the monitor shakes just incredibly. Also, that loose mount that allows you to very easily remove the panel from the stand is also a bit of a problem when it comes to stability, and even just sitting here, as you can see, it wobbles a fair bit, and if you put your hand on it and shake it at all, you'll notice what I mean. And finally, the worst offender here is the response time of the panel. They quoted it as a 1 millisecond panel, which is actually a 1 millisecond moving picture response time, as opposed to the much more commonly quoted gray to gray response times, but that's not the end of the world. It's just a different measurement and a different type of response time. But the thing is, though, that the black to white response time, which is what you'll notice here in my GH5's 180 FPS high-speed capture with the UFO test frame skipping mode, that, as you can see, multiple boxes are lit as we go through. At least 3 at a given time is average here. To give you the perfect score and to understand this a bit better, only a single box should be lit here. Sometimes you can have it where one is lit and the next one's half lit, or the last one's half lit because of the frame capture, but the fact that this is on every frame as you see it go through is generally a pretty bad sign, and means that the black to white response time here is somewhere between 5 and 10 milliseconds, which, especially for a 144Hz display, is definitely on the slow side. Now, to give you some context, I actually have an ASUS PG279Q on my desk at the moment, so I'm no stranger to 144Hz, 1440p, IPS, adaptive sync monitors, and that one actually doesn't fare all that much better when it comes to the response time, but that panel is over 4 years old at this point, and I would have hoped that, a brand new monitor like this one would have a bit better panel tech, but obviously that depends on what's available. This is an Innolux panel, so technically you can blame them for that, but it's something to keep in mind when you're spending £550 or $600 on a monitor. You want the best, and this just doesn't seem to be that. And of course, the question I ask in all of my videos is, would I put one of these on my desk? The answer for me is probably not, but I also wouldn't be horrifically offended if it was the only monitor I could ever use, forever after, because it's not a bad monitor. There's a few things that are a little bit gimmicky in terms of the OSD sidekick and a few of the extra features that they have there, and the fact that there's no menu system bar changing inputs, but overall it's still a good display. The panel is not the worst in the world. While it's still the worst that I've tested in terms of response times, it's certainly not a bad gaming experience, and I actually didn't really notice that issue in games. So unless you really can see the difference between 5 and 10 milliseconds of black to white response time, then this is still going to be a great option for you. And in terms of its pricing, it's not extravagantly expensive, especially now that it does actually support G-Sync as well. So That's also pretty cool. Now, if after all of that you want to pick one of these up, or if you just want to check out pricing when and where you watch this, then take a look at the link in the description down below. You can also check out the rest of the links down there if you want to support the channel and keep me making these videos. I do videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with live streams on Thursday nights, so make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. This is a new style of video, so if you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments down below, and if you want me to go back to my more standard ways, also let me know down there too. There's plenty of other videos over there for you to check out. Make sure you check out the Amazon and Overclockers UK affiliate links, which don't cost you anything, but if you go to them before you buy, it massively helps me out, so thank you to all you guys who do use that, and of course the Patreon links, so you can get cool rewards for supporting me, and thank you to all the patrons who are already there, and a load of other stuff down there too. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all in the next video.